Tasmania, a quiet, idyllic place where nothing ever interrupts the enjoyment of a peaceful game of golf. This is Barnbougle Dunes near Bridport on the northeast coast of Tasmania. It's home to arguably the best links-style courses in Australia, the original Dunes layout and the recent newcomer, Lost Farm. Local farmer Richard Sattler knew little about golf when he first saw this stretch of coast, but he could definitely see its potential.
I think I was convinced really by Mike Kaiser, a developer of Abandoned Dunes in Oregon, and the magic work that he'd done there, and he convinced me that it was a great site for golf, and it was something that where we are slightly wind exposed. It was a utilisation of coastland that just fitted perfectly with the climate we've got here.
Golfers the world over owe Sattler a massive debt of thanks. Barnbougle Dunes and Lost Farm are courses that stimulate the senses, offering a golfing experience unmatched in Australia. And now, thanks to the Sydney-based golf touring company, more players will get the chance to come here and do it in style.
What we're trying to achieve with this trip is certainly a five-star experience from start to finish. We're going to hold your hand from the minute you arrive into Sydney Airport. There's a private lounge you can use there with free parking. The plane behind us is an executive Cessna Conquest. It's not just the bus service that we use. Coming into Barnbougle, we've got special accommodations that we can use here. They've got 4-bedroom villas. No matter what the weather, no matter what your handicap, it's just going to be a great experience.
This is giving the opportunity for people to be able to fly out of Sydney on a direct flight right to the course. They're effectively, instead of fitting in commercial airline timetables, they're probably going to save half a day, which is another game of golf, and the expense at the end of the day won't be much different in the whole picture. So I think it's a huge market that's been proven directly out of Melbourne works really well, and Sydney should be no different. It's only an extra 20 minutes.
So what is it about this place that has the experts raving? In a word, location, location, location. Barnbougle Dunes opened in 2004 and stretches across 80 hectares of undulating coastal dunes that offer links golf in its truest form. On a still day, it's a sleeping giant, but when it's windy, it's a rampaging ogre. The first of the feature holes is the par 4 fourth. The bigger hitters can fly the bunker embedded in the dune on the corner and try to reach the green, but that carries huge risk. Most will play short of the bunker, leaving a blind approach, or drive left of the hazard to open up the green. The 7th is a fearsome short hole with a small green guarded by a cavernous bunker on the left and steep banks that sweep the ball away if the tee shot is wayward. It's called Tom's Little Devil and is one of Australia's shortest and scariest golf holes, requiring anything from a wedge to a long iron, depending on the wind. But after the short comes the sharp. The 8th is either a par 4 or a par 5, depending on the conditions. The massive fairway is split by a central dune, and golfers can take the high road or the low road, with more room to the right, but that leaves a longer shot to the flag. The narrow green's protected by a spectacular square-top dune to the right. This is one par 4 where you'll really have to earn a good score. The back 9 begins in similar style to the front, with a run of holes running parallel to the ever-present waterfront. It is a characteristic of the course that nothing is dictated to the player, who's free to decide how best to tackle any particular hole. The short par 4 12th is similar to the 10th on the West course at Royal Melbourne in terms of the decisions you have to make on the tee. The green sits on the edge of a dune, and those flying at the putting surface face one of the most tempting yet danger-filled shots in the country. Opinion is somewhat divided about the par 3 13th. Some love this massive and mountainous green, and some think it unfair. It's based on a green built by the legendary Alistair Mackenzie at Sitwell Park in England, hence the name of the hole. Remember to pack your geometry set because you might need it with some of the pin placements they use here. The final 4 holes play back into the wind and along the ocean. The 17th is a par 4 on the card, but into the prevailing wind, it's going to take 2 flushed woods just to reach the green. Like most holes here, if it's windy, the yardage book will be about as much help as a tennis racket.
It's very easy to imagine yourself on the east coast of Scotland when it's like this. Certainly In Australia, we're blessed to have these two courses. If no one's been here already, you need to get yourself down here very quickly to experience what the golf course has got to offer.
Lost Farm opened in 2010 and was designed by the American team of Ben Crenshaw and Bill Corr, who was looking for the right piece of land on which to create his magnum opus. Once he saw this place, he knew his search was over. One of Corr's ambitions was to replicate some of the world's best golf holes. Add a hotel to the right of the 5th and you have the road hole at St Andrews. Throw in some water and azaleas on the 6th and the 12th at Augusta springs to mind. But that's not to say Lost Farm is a mere replica of famous holes. It is a stunning piece of golf real estate in its own right. After a couple of muscle-stretching openers, the course kicks into life at the par 3 4th, named Sally's Point after the owner's wife. With a beach on the right, Bridport in the distance, and a river on the left, it's easy to see why many rate this as the signature hole. But then again, praise for the 5th has been widespread. A highly respected golf writer from America who's played the world's top 100 courses called it the best par 4 on the planet. It ranks number 1 on the card, and it's easy to see why, forcing players to drive over a massive dune to put the green in reach in 2. A fairway wood or long iron will be needed for the second shot to a multi-tiered green that slopes like a ski run from back to front. While debate rages as to which is the best hole, the 14th is another contender. It's a 240-metre downhill par 4 that positively dares you to try and drive the green. From the elevated tee, you'll get great views, particularly of the narrow, raised 2-tier green below. Anything right will find the marram grass that was planted all over the course to prevent the sand dunes from eroding, but which also makes balls disappear like a Las Vegas magician. Special mention must also go to the par 3 15th, with the impressive restaurant perched on a hill above the green. You might feel just a little extra pressure to find the sloping green when there's several pairs of eyes looking down on you from above. The challenge doesn't get any easier the closer you get to the clubhouse, and the finish at 17 and 18 can be brutal. Again, wind is the deciding factor at Lost Farm, and it was designed to be played into the prevailing northwesterly. But with holes running in different directions, and given Tasmania's unpredictable weather, no 2 rounds are likely to be the same. Barnbougle Dunes is already one of the best golfing facilities in Australia, rivalling the offerings in Melbourne, Perth and on the Gold Coast. But it seems that Richard Sattler isn't finished yet.
Well, we've sort of tried to put a bit of diversification into our destination with the spa, and now we're looking at polo, and we may well look at small tennis centre, and just to give a diversification for people to come down and entertain themselves, and then certainly potential for 1 or 2 more courses into the future as the growth demands it.
We also have international trips to Queenstown, which is a favourite destination of ours internationally. We run trips up to Southeast Asia with Asian Tour player Adam Groom. And we've also got a word-of-mouth trip to the Masters. You have to be recommended to us to come along. That's pretty much what we're doing at the moment. We don't want to run before we can walk.
For more details or to book this unique 5-star experience, go to the Golf Touring Company website, flytobarney.com.au.